Well, hello everyone, and just a quick update from us on the Russia and Ukraine situation. That has obviously escalated overnight, which is less than ideal, but we can have a little bit of a speak about it and see how that has impacted markets over the course of the last couple of days when we looked at the DAX, as we can see here, and we are going to look at a couple of other assets now in a minute. Now, yesterday, a senior US official did come out and say that Russia was ready to invade, which has, over the course of last night, proved to be correct. Now, the Russian military have decided to go in to Ukraine to, in their words, demilitarize the Ukrainian army, and they have told troops from the Ukrainian army to step down, drop their guns, and return home. They seem to want to be allowed in with no resistance, which is a bit insane, but that's what they want. So it remains to be seen how hard these countries either choose to fight, what sort of sanctions are to be placed across the people across Russia and on Russia as a country itself. It remains to be seen how far different countries will take that. We've already had, the UK, the US, Germany. Germany halted the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. The UK have placed sanctions on a bunch of Russian banks, and the US have come up with some sanctions themselves, but you would imagine that they will continue to flow in over the coming days and weeks. Now, overnight there were more reports of two Ukrainian military command centers being missile attacked with multiple explosions in cities around the country, including the capital of Kiev. Now, that's obviously not good. There is now a missile warning in Kiev, and citizens have been told to stay at home. Does not seem like a good situation from a humanitarian perspective. It is not a good situation, and we would want that to be de-escalated as quickly as possible. But from a markets perspective, it's obviously going to impact markets, and we're going to have a look across a few different markets and see the impact of that. We'll start with the DAX. One thing we were looking at earlier on in the week was the DAX, this 15,000 support level. We noted the way the price is moving down to this support level long term. Obviously, these have been jitters in the markets for a few weeks now, and we expected this support level to fold. Fundamentally, we expected it to fold. Technically, we expected it to fold. Whatever way you chose to look at it, if you're a hardcore fundamentalist or you're a hardcore technical analyst, both sets of eyes would probably have viewed this support level in the same way, which is why it has folded. We got some clear decisiveness down below it the other day when we were looking at the first time, and then we can drop down the time frame to try and find an entry point, a safe place where we can look to get in. We had this touch across here, this touch across here. We come back for a third one up here. Nice level of resistance for us to look to sell off. We approach this resistance quite slowly and correctively in the form of a rising wedge, which is a known bearish pattern. We have rejected off the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level. All a bunch of bearish indications. We got a nice triple zone to look to try and trade off here. Break at the higher time frame support level, and also fundamentals backing this move. This was a nice opportunity yesterday. Hopefully some of you managed to catch it. A little bit more difficult in real time with the headlines flowing around, some positive, some negative, some trying to blow cold water on it, some not, depending where you look at, depending where you take your information from. But you got to look bigger picture at it and look at what Russia are doing to Ukraine and Eastern Europe as not good for something like the DAX. Fundamentally, we are looking for selling opportunities. You cannot just jump in blindly and sell these things. We need to find some confirmation the price is in fact turning around again and heading to move back lower. Here we've got that in the form of our break and a retest of a previous support level, 61.8 Fibonacci, with a rising wedge providing a perfect selling opportunity. Technicals aligning with the fundamentals, or the fundamentals aligning with the technicals, whichever way you choose to view it, providing a solid opportunity all the same. Now, as we come across to the S&P, something we were looking at yesterday in the webinar yesterday evening, was this support level across here. We can see touch, probably better off on the 4 hour, as this is the fourth or third touch we were looking at yesterday evening. And as we jump down to the 30-minute time frame, we can see this symmetrical triangle, which is again A pattern that can break out either way. My preferred method of use for these is for the continuation. Now, we were at this support level. Again, similar sort of scenario to the DAX a couple of days ago. We were looking at that support level. Technically the way the price has approached this support level, the big move lower. We did this buying off of here, from here to here, quite strong buying off at the first time. Second time we came back to it, weaker buying. Third time we would expect weaker buying again, and at some point for this support level to fold. Now, with everything going on between Russia and Ukraine, fundamentally as well, you would expect this support level to fold. You can factor in the monetary policy situation in the US, with them having to hike rates numerous times throughout the course of this year. Monetary policy perspective, negative for the S&P, and then this whole Ukraine crisis is just doubles the pain for something like the S&P. It's been trending lower for quite some time now. At this support level, we've got some indication the price may continue with this symmetrical triangle with a nice little entry point through here. Looking to take advantage of this break of the support level. Now that kick-started at 6 o'clock yesterday. Overnight, we got the confirmation that the Russians were in fact heading into Ukraine to try and invade it. So would have been a little bit early on this entry, but we are on the right side of the market. Fundamentally these things are pointed lower. Is it that much of a surprise that they went through with it this morning? No. You kind of have to work off rumors sometimes in markets, and the rumors suggesting that they will invade with everything that's gone over the last number of weeks. Having a punt on a short on one of the indices was not a bad idea. Plus the technicals then provided us with a good entry to look to go short, and then we got the follow through with the beginning of the invasion over the course of last night. So some good trading opportunities. Difficult markets, choppy, up down, but when you zoom out a little bit and you look at the bigger picture and figure out what's happening, fundamentally things moving lower, then we're just looking for entry points on our lower time frames through our technical charts, and we can see here some cracking opportunities to make some cash over the last number of days. One thing I did want to have a look at as well is the Russian ruble. We'll stick this back to the daily time frame. You zoom out as far as you want, you will not find a point on this chart that is higher, as far as you go back, that is higher as to what we reached today. Now we see this, it's a bit of a crazy candlestick. We go from the low here up to the high and just measure it. That's an over 10% gain, in the space of a couple of hours. Not a gain for the Russian ruble, gain for this currency pair, dollar ruble, which would be Russian ruble weakness when this chart moves higher. We came up and pinged straight off the 90, and we've reversed since. There's obviously a fair bit of profit taking, you would imagine, up around that 90 level. Pushed strongly higher, we've pushed strongly back lower. We've not really had any fundamental drivers for this move lower. Not that I've seen in the last couple of hours. What I would probably put that down to is profit taking. However, in financial markets, sometimes you can miss things, so you cannot be completely ruling out the prospect of maybe some positivity somewhere. You would hope from a humanitarian perspective that there is some positivity somewhere. Personally, I have not managed to come across it just yet. Remains to be seen whether these moves continue, how far they continue. Pretty difficult to jump in and start selling these things. The DAX is down 5%, nearly 5% this morning. S&P down 3%. Just a little bit under 3% when I was looking at the percentages this morning. It's difficult to go just and jump in and sell them. See on a bit of a shorter time frame. The indices since 4 o'clock this morning have chopped sideways, and the S&P chopped sideways on the DAX. So market's a little bit undecided of whether they want to continue these moves lower or move back higher and give back some of these losses. Remains to be seen how the Americans decide to view this when we open at 2:30. So we'll be keenly watching at 2:30 for the US Open, how the US traders decide to view this and interpret this. This will be their first opportunity reacting at this since the Russians moved into Ukraine. So we'll be watching that keenly to see how that plays out. We go into the weekend tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. Do we want to be holding positions into the weekend? Probably not. If you're gonna hold a position, you would probably want to be short these indices. I don't think you'd want to be trying to buy the dip into the weekend. That's something we definitely need to be careful of. Something we need to evaluate as we head into the close of play tomorrow. A pretty exciting week in terms of markets. And things are up, things are down, high levels of volatility. If you didn't catch any of these moves lower, don't go chasing them. Be patient. Wait for some setups to perform, setups to form, and maybe look to get in at some point in the future. But be careful. Don't go piling in just yet. I think we need to wait and see what the Americans do at 2:30 before going and making any clear-cut decisions. That's all for me. All for me now. We will keep an eye on what goes on throughout the course of the week, next week, and however long this decides to last for. So we will try update later on in the week. We'll have another update tomorrow, and we will be sure to update further on the situation next week. So that is all for me. Have a good day and watch that US Open.